Coming on the air as officials are offering the latest information on the Sauratown Mountain wildfire in Stokes County. Let's listen in live together.
Well, the map that we had yesterday really was from 2 days ago. So that was what you were looking at, was probably around 150 acres. We're standing at probably 700 acres and some change this morning.
A lot of the fire has got, the mountain right there, it was glowing red yesterday. It's now, you can't see anything. Have you seen a lot of containment because of this rain?
The rain's definitely helping, and the forecast is 100% chance of rain today, maybe upwards of an inch today, possibly another inch tonight and into the wee hours of the morning. That will help tremendously. Although this will give the firefighters a break, kind of a tactical pause, so to speak. They will have a chance to kind of stage and rehab, rest up a little bit today. There'll be some monitoring going on. There are some issues reported as far as dead trees, hazard trees up around the youth camp. Possibly crews will do some mitigation up there if weather permits it and they can safely get some of those trees down. That's going to be one thing that they'll look at later on in the day today. But right now it's just kind of a soupy mess, a whole nother set of hazards, slip, trips, and falls. With that potential, of course, with everything being wet up there, the potential for vehicle accidents are there. Of course, looking out the forecast, the next morning or two might be pretty cold. We might see some ice up there in places, so that presents another set of hazards.
So what is that main focus right now? So it looks like the fire it's died down?
Yeah, it's laid down or died down. It sure has. We do think back to 2021 when we had the much smaller fire on Sauratown Mountain down in this area. We like to call that a zombie fire because it just would not go away. Every time we left that fire, due to leaf fall, it would flare back up. And numerous times when we were battling the Pilot Mountain fire, we had to disengage crews and send them over to do mop up on that. So it really is a long way from being over at this point.
Is that leaf fall still an issue?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Whenever you get a drying day, we'll be able to assess when the rain moves out. Usually with these fronts, you get a dry, wind pushing through there. We'll take a good look at that. We'll monitor throughout the day tomorrow and the next day for hot spots, and operations will come up with a plan, on suppression from there.
So you have 3 divisions working simultaneously, correct?
That's correct. Except once again today, they really won't be engaged today. It'll be a more monitoring, and staging event today.
Do we have an idea of the estimated percentage of containment at this time?
Operations is having a meeting this morning, and they'll get together, and then I'll have some more information as far as on acreage or containment after that later on in the day.
Any idea when this may be over?
It's just hard to say. We'll see what kind of rain materializes the rest of the day and tonight, and then we'll get a better idea of what we're up against the next couple days.
But it could still be a while.
It could still be a while, absolutely.
Are you guys planning to evacuate any other, I know 12 homes were evacuated. Plans to evacuate maybe the surrounding area that's around us?
We don't have any additional plans for evacuation at this time. Yep.
You mentioned that rain has been a tremendous help, in keeping this fire contained and dying it down a little bit. Can you elaborate a little bit more about that and the role that it's played so far?
Well, we've had very little moisture, if any, the last couple of months, and that makes mop up and containment very, very difficult. A lot of times, when we have these fires and when it's not that dry, your lighter, flashier fuels will be consumed, but not your heavy fuels, your 7-10 inch diameter fuels. There's just literally about 100% consumption as dry as everything was. All of the dead fuels are being consumed, and that takes a lot of mop up. In Duffy areas, what's the good thing about this fire was that this area did burn back in 2008, so we should not have as much potential for reburn as we did on the other fire in 21, because it had probably been 50 years since that area had burned, and all of that leaf litter, pine needles, dead woody material builds up, turns into organic material over the years. It's underneath rocks, it's around rocks, and containment mop up is a real challenge and takes many days and sometimes weeks.
Just to make sure as well, you mentioned at the top of this beginning brief that you had some dayside crews working a little bit longer with the overnight crews. You said 60 firefighters. Was that is that 60 firefighters for the overnight crews, or like all the firefighters we saw throughout the day?
There was roughly about 30 firefighters as far as on night shift last night, and then additional 25 to 30 of the day crews stayed around well into the evening shift last night.
Any update on the cause?
Nothing at this time. It'll be under investigation.
How are your crews doing? I mean, at this point, they've been working for hard work for a good long hours. I mean, everybody doing okay?
Yeah, they're holding up great. Morale is good. No injuries, no damages reported so far. And this will today will give everybody a chance to maybe not, rest up completely, but it'll give them a tactical pause and a chance to breathe and rehab their tools. There's a lot of, the tools and the engines that they're using, the chainsaws and all. There's a lot of wear and tear on those, so that'll give them a chance to go in and rehab themselves as well as their equipment.
Now, the Stokes County Sheriff's Office posts on Facebook telling people don't try to drive up the mountain and take pictures or get out and get a closer look. Are you also kind of sending that message to?
Yeah, and I do believe that Sourtown Mountain Road is still going to be closed. A lot of those houses, they have a front yard, they don't have a backyard. It's just a sheer cliff there, and with zero visibility, it's very dangerous up there. And so that's another reason why we're staging most of the firefighters today. If we get a break in the weather, some of them may go out and assess, some areas, and assess these trees up there around the mountaintop youth camp just to see if they can safely get some of those hazard trees down.
Speaking of that road, yesterday the fire continued to burn along. You just mentioned how it was like kind of a sheer rock cliff. There were a couple houses where it looked like the fire was pretty close. Have any structures been lost, or are they still all good?
No structures have been lost or no damages reported at that time. I know whenever the crews, if you saw a lot of burned fuel around the homes, that was probably from some of the night operations they did a day and a half or so ago when they were burning off some of that fuel around those houses there.
Aside from asking the community to, stay safe, make sure they're not impeding the work of firefighters, is there another message you may have to this community about maybe their support in firefighting efforts? Absolutely.
We just want to thank the community. A lot of these firefighters have been up on Sourtown Mountain 3 times now over the last 20 years. The outreach has been amazing. The outreach from the fire department has been incredible. The donations, the food, the water, the Gatorade, a lot of it's been donated anonymously, and it's just, we're always treated so well whenever we come here.
And so, in terms of moving forward, the next steps, what happens when you get the fire contained, it's put out completely? Are you going back to look at the land, or trying to see if you can work to get more fire lines there? What are the next steps after containment?
After containment, then, the operations decides in terms of mop-up, how much mop-up, they're going to do. They may potentially do a hose lay around the whole perimeter. That's a possibility. That's up to ops to decide, and how much fire activity we have after the rain moves out of here. There's rehab potentially that will take place on those fire lines and on those dozer lines, some water barring, taking slash and putting it in place to prevent runoff and erosion. So there'll be a lot of work to be done, even if the fire, after it's contained.
Like months?
Definitely weeks, I would say, days and weeks. Mm-hmm.
So, you want to go? You go. Okay. Another thing, Mr. Holt, is that 2008, Sourtown Mountain was on fire, 400 acres burned. At this point, we're 350 acres over that, roughly just about. Has Sourtown Mountain ever experienced a fire on the scale before, even before the 2008 fire? And what kind of lessons are you taking from the fires in the past and fighting this fire now? Yeah, most of these areas kind of on a rotation seem to burn about every 50 years, if not more frequently than that. A lot of that was lightning, many, many years ago in the spring and the summer months.
For those that are watching, and maybe someone sees this and thinks, oh, it's just a little rain, they can handle it, they can go work in that. Just explain, how much of a factor it is in terms of it's harder to work in this weather. what it's like, why the crews can't go out as in-depth?
Yeah, it's just there's a lot more hazards, a whole different set of hazards involved, and you have that wind element that's out there last night and today. I think we had some gusts up to 20 miles per hour. Visibility is very poor due to smoke and fog, if not down to 0%. So that makes working conditions really dangerous. Terrain is very steep in there, very difficult to access. That makes slips, trips, and falls much more of an issue there. So we're going to let the good Lord do the work today with the rain, and we're going to back out of there for firefighter safety and just kind of disengage for now and then reassess, in the next 24-hour operational period.
To follow along with that, crews will still be going out and checking on it. Is there a possibility that something could be seen by a crew that would require immediate reaction? So what happens if that's the case?
Well, in terms of immediate reaction, do you mean in terms of fire goes? Or, they may have to take action. There were a lot of burning trees in there. The firefighters were reporting yesterday internally, a lot of big trees coming down. That's one of the most dangerous things that wildland firefighters deal with are falling, burning trees. If we had a tree that came down across a road or a line, that would take, going out there and making sure that tree is no longer on fire, mopping up, chainsaw work, we call it bucking those logs up and moving them back into the burned area. So we want to make sure all flammable material, if it crosses the line, we extinguish it immediately and get it back into the black area where it doesn't represent a threat.
Would you say the fire is not active? It's not actively spreading?
Well, there is still a lot of heat in there because that's contributing to this super fog event that we've got up there right now. So there's still a lot of smoldering heat, a lot of residual smoke out there. So it is, and the smoke is going to impact the area. We ask people that might have issues related to respiratory issues, COVID issues, to stay inside today and take precautions. Yep.
Are there any particular spots that you're especially concerned might provide an opportunity for the fire to progress and grow again? The area, that the kind of the area that burned initially, that tends to be cold or colder, and the perimeter area was what most recently burned, and that's what will have the most heat in it, and that's what's closest to the line. So those perimeters are what those firefighters are going to be checking and assessing. Yep.
Has there been any video or pictures from the mountain from any of your crews? What do those look like?
Yeah, we are starting to get some pictures and video in. They started sending me those, last night and this morning, and I'll keep requesting videos. And what we'll do is in pictures, we'll send those, to our folks in Raleigh, and then they will send them out to the press.
And then currently, right now, even with the rain, there are still firefighters, I guess, on the mountain around the fire lines, right?
Well, most of them are going to be concentrated because, you all can see, the limitations of this area, the parking lot. We did have overflow. We have an agreement with the church across the road that, firefighters can park there in the church parking lot in order to kind of lighten the load and the traffic here. Camp Haynes has a pretty good sized parking lot. Also, the Mountaintop Youth Facility has a pretty good mountaintop a parking lot, that is. So they will be staged there. I've made them aware that you guys were going to have a presence today since they're going to be staging. They're aware that you guys might be out interacting with them, and hopefully they'll be willing to talk to you and give you their perspective. So.
And then, the rain aside, how important is a day like today where your crews can catch a breath? Because this fire, it expanded so much.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
How important is having a day where you kind of give your crews a little bit of a...
Yeah, it's extremely important. And the fire behavior that we were seeing, the drought conditions that we were in for the last, couple of months, today is it's a game changer. It really is. And once again, this thing is far from being out. We're not going home, but the fact that we had so many resources from out of state staged in Western North Carolina, you know, and those folks were able to get here within a couple hours. You know, I just can't tell you how important that was.
Actually, expanding on that, the amount of resources that you've been able to have in the stations you've been able to work with. I mean, we've heard reports of you know, people from South Dakota, I want to say what, Oregon, Washington.
Yeah, South Dakota, Oregon, Utah, Washington, Montana.
I mean, do you just have more, you know, raising their hand saying, "Hey, we're on our way to help. We're here to, you know, give you some resources"? I mean, what's that like?
Yeah, because we value those folks, those men and women from the western part of the country. Those fire crews basically hop from fire to fire all summer long. And, you know, we don't have that terrain throughout North Carolina. We have some rough, rugged mountains right here in our backyard, but these folks are used to those kind of conditions, you know, all summer long, and that's what they do. They bump from fire to fire all summer long. So their physical ability along with their expertise is amazing to have that here right now.
Have there been any particular moments where that experience has come in handy?
Yeah, our incident commander here is from Washington State, so he is assisting us, and he does have incident command over this fire at this time.
And in terms of the size of the wildfire, would you say this was the largest that happened in this area, or would you compare it in comparison to the fire?
Yeah, in this district, this is the largest fire we have had in several years. You know, in western North Carolina, a couple of the earlier fires, I think, exceeded 1,000 acres, or the Colette fire, maybe 4,000 or 5,000 acres. It's not in our region, so, but that's what they've been dealing with in the western part of the state.
The Pilot Mountain fire, 1,100 acres ish burned during that fire, if I remember correctly. Is there any expectation that this fire could grow to that same size, if not bigger?
I mean, it's always a possibility, and that's why we're always thinking ahead. You know, not just today, but tomorrow's operational period, the day after that, and we're coming up with contingency plans. You know, probably depending on the fire activity in the next couple of days, there may be additional contingency lines that are put in around this fire in case we do have issues with escape. If we had a wind event, a 30 or 40 mile wind event in a couple of days that we don't see on the weather, you know, right now, you know, we try to think, you know, days and days out.
Anything else you'd like to add?
I can't think of anything. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And you were just listening in live at the very latest 8 a.m. update from Jimmy Holt speaking on behalf of the North Carolina Forest Service. If you missed the beginning part of that update, we heard that rain overnight has been a tremendous help in the firefighting efforts. There are no plans for additional evacuations for folks living along Sauratown Mountain. The Sauratown Mountain Road is still closed at this hour. No damages have been reported. Once again, no plans for additional evacuations. Jimmy Holt said that today will be used as a monitoring and staging event today as they really assess the area once this rain moves out for a drying day Wednesday and Thursday. No update on a cause of this fire as this hour. Crews are safe and everyone is doing well today, Jimmy Holt said. They are using, quote, a tactical pause today, once again, as the rain continues, but it's been a tremendous help. Jimmy Holt is thanking the community for their outpouring of support and donations, and we have a long road of weeks of recovery that the folks in Stokes County will be dealing with. Stay with us for more live team coverage over on the Local Vibe at 9 a.m. As well as WXII 12 News at noon. And Brian Slocum will have the very latest weather updates for you as well. Stay with us. We'll return you now to regular scheduled programming.